everybody. How's it going?
Great.
Great.
How are the pumpkin bars?
Fantastic.
Yum, yum. Okay. I am Susie Day. I'm the advisor of the Women's Center. And if you don't know about the Women's Center, it's right upstairs until we move to the fabulous new center finals week. And a little bit of housekeeping. Please silence your phones. I just did that. Also, if you came in, you should have got an evaluation. Please fill that out. It really helps us with our programming. If you didn't, did you get one? Oh, Ninja Sneak. Okay, we'll grab you one. Please fill them out. I read every single one of them. And if you have to leave early, you can just leave it on your seat, or you can drop it, on the food table or something, just wherever. Also, if you want to learn more about what the Women's Center does, you can join the listserv. There's a sign up on the trash can on the way out. And if you don't know about the Women's Center, you can also go to the womencenter.missouri.edu website, or follow us on Twitter, or get on the Facebooks, because we're cool like that. What else? Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about feminism, and it's kind of a fluid ideology that means something a little different to everyone who chooses to identify as a feminist. And so please keep in mind, the panelists we've chosen tonight are going to talk about how they identify. And so it's not like they're experts on feminism as a whole, they're experts on how they identify. So when you're thinking about questions like that. And what else? All sorts of good stuff. I had a script, and I rarely remember to read it. And so, yeah, I'm just going to start. We have lots of questions, I'm sure. So, real quick, who identifies in the audience as a feminist? All right. All right, so first, if we'll have each panelist go down and the line and say your name and how you affiliate with Mizzou, if you do, and just kind of a brief description of your feminist identity. And if you need the mic, you can pass it down. You want to start? Okay.
Do we need the mic, or can you hear me?
Mic is good.
Okay. I am Becky Martinez, and I am an assistant professor in women's and gender studies. My identification with feminism, of course, is, like many people, is a process, first sort of not thinking I was a feminist, but then realizing that the things that I believe in were feminist ideals, and that happened through my college years. And I began to identify with a Chicana feminism, and that is, my background is Mexican-American, but I use the term Chicana because that is a political term that recognizes a consciousness about your identity. And so my consciousness is understanding that that groups are oppressed, women, minorities, there's class oppression, there's oppression based on sexuality, ability, all different kinds of intersecting oppressions. So that's kind of how I see it. I don't necessarily see it as a movement for, I guess kind of taking bell hooks, equality with men in that sense, because I think that there are so many different identities that, we talk about, well, which men, are you talking about equality with? And so, I have a kind of a broad understanding, but as a personal identification, I would identify as a Chicana feminist. It's okay, it's fine. Can you guys hear me? That's a tough act to follow. I'm Sarah. I'm a graduate student here. I got my undergrad here, so I've been here for 8 years. And I'm a graduate student in fisheries and wildlife, and I'm studying birds. I identify as a feminist, I think, or I identify as a feminist a lot more general than that. I believe in a lot of gender equality, and especially in my field, I think that I could be a good example of females in a male-dominated biological biology field. And I don't know, I think it presents a lot of opportunities to act that out and, I don't know, kind of support gender equality and
show that you can do exactly what everybody else can do, but better. That's all. Hi, I'm Struby, and I'm a Mizzou grad. I'm gonna hand this. So I'm an alumni, and then I moved to Spain for a year, and then I came back and I worked in the Department of Student Life for about 4 years here at Mizzou, and then I left to San Francisco for a year, and now I'm back, and I work again in the Department of Student Life. And I think I started to identify as a feminist when I got to Mizzou as an undergrad, and I think that I always had the idea of like, I don't know, like I was a big tomboy, and so I played sports a lot, and it was always like, I never got invited to play sports, or on recess I was supposed to be like sitting on the bars and talking, and I was like, no, I want to go play baseball over there. So I think I had the idea of like, we can do anything boys can do, and then my feminist identity has kind of grown out of a really basic, I can do anything that guy over there can do, into a, you know, kind of more academic and more theoretical understanding of the world about the intersecting identities like Becky was talking about. And I think that I probably identify as a pretty radical feminist. I think that that comes from like just my kind of extreme views on a lot of things. I think I'm, you know, I also believe in like funny feminism. Like I don't think I need to be too like staunch and mad all the time. But I think there's a lot of things to be mad about. There's a lot of injustice in the world, and so I guess I'm radical, but I also like to think of myself as a hopeful feminist because I really believe in like hoping for the change and that things do get better and that we're making a lot of progress. And I think that feminism is to thank for a lot of that progress. That's probably good.
Hello, I'm Matthew. I got my undergrad here, and I worked at the Women's Center while I was getting my undergrad, and now I'm in grad school. I guess mine is much more broad in saying how I define myself as a feminist. I think what it really boils down to for me is believing that sexism is a social disease, and it's something that all of us are taught, and so if we can be taught it, we can also unlearn all of those things that are really problematic as a whole for our society. And they're really easy things to understand. So feminism is for everyone, and it's not hard to get on board with it.
Let's switch to this one, maybe that'll.
I think that's a great idea.
Hi, my name is this even on.
The bottom button. Maybe we won't use it.
Yeah, should I just pass? We can pass. We can share. Okay, I'll just leave that one.
This is about sharing.
Okay, back to this mic again.
Go ahead.
This works. My name is Julie Drury, and I am the coordinator for Greek Life on campus. I work in the Department of Student Life, and have worked here for about 4.5 years now. And I think that the idea of being a feminist kind of hit me more in grad school. I got my master's degree in higher education administration at the University of Mississippi. And in my coursework of student development and what all of that was like, it kind of starting to make sense to me a little bit as I was learning. And one of my professors there always said, if you care about women's issues, then you're a feminist. That's all it is. That's all it takes. It's caring about women. I'm like, I'm a woman. I care about myself and my mom and my sorority sisters and my friends and my grandmother and so on and so on. As I have done more research and more work within Greek life and sorority life, what really interests me is the beginning of sororities. Sororities were founded in a place of women being oppressed and wanting to do better things and rally together and really empower each other. And for me, that's something that really interests me, and I'm sure everyone knows with stereotypes of Greek life, sororities have gotten away from that a little bit over the years. And so for me, it's working with students and with Greek leaders across the country to say, how do we get back to our roots? Because that's what it's all about. How do we empower women to do what they should be doing? And the vehicle of a sorority for leadership development and women's empowerment can be a very awesome thing. And so kind of where I see my role